Welcome back to episode 12. If you've been following our story from the very beginning to get to this point, well, then you probably already see it. We started with a whole lot of skill, the intense drive to build our own bakery, and the massive excitement of those very first sales. But then we hit this creeping, uncomfortable realization that something just wasn't adding up. We thought we had it all figured out, but we were about to learn a very hard lesson about what it really takes to survive.
And it all boils down to this single haunting question that plagues literally every hardworking food business operator at some point. Where is the money going? It is a suspenseful, quiet terror when your physical effort, the hours you put in, and the trays leaving your bakery simply do not match the profit in your register. At that point, you're not just working anymore. You're searching. You are searching desperately for clarity.
And here's the thing. If you followed our story over the past episodes, you know this isn't just our isolated story. It's a pattern. The exact same pattern repeating across multiple food businesses, just silently draining the life out of great products and really hardworking teams.
Section 1. The illusion of progress. See, here's how the pattern starts. It starts with incredible skill, massive effort, and genuinely good products. You finally get your hands moving, you're setting up your space, and it feels so validating. You think to yourself, okay, we can actually do this.
But there's a massive gap between the illusion and the reality. On the outside, everything looks great, right? High skill, amazing products, buzzing activity, and very visible sales. You feel like you're on the right path. But underneath, the reality is confusion, unseen losses, a completely inconsistent profit margin. Because from the outside, busy looks exactly like progress. But inside the business, busy is the perfect cover for massive, underlying problems.
Which brings us to Section 2, the quiet cost of confusion. You see, when you're running your business on memory, assumptions, and just thinking, oh, my margins should probably be around this much, the failures don't sound an alarm. They don't just stop your operations. Instead, they are completely silent leaks, quietly destroying your business from the inside out while you're distracted by the daily grind.
To give you an idea of what a silent leak actually looks like, 39,000 Naira. That was the shocking loss we discovered when we finally decided to track just one single product over a few days. That money wasn't stolen, it wasn't invested, it was literally just lost. A tray that didn't fully sell, a couple of pieces given out, 1 or 2 burnt items. We had absolutely no idea it was happening because it didn't trigger an alarm. Now, just imagine that silent leak multiplied across an entire bakery, day after day.
It hits you with this really harsh truth: what you can't measure, you absolutely can't control. When we calculated that loss, we realized we didn't actually know our own profit. We only felt like we did based on scattered memory, and that realization was heavy. It pushed us to completely stop guessing, because we knew if we didn't build a clear way to see the business, we were going to keep bleeding money.
And that leads right into Section 3, effort cannot fix clarity. This was honestly the hardest pill for us to swallow. Because as an operator, your first instinct when things get hard is always just to work harder, push more, produce more, sell more. We really thought that sheer effort could somehow outrun the math.
But listen, more effort will not fix a clarity problem. You can work 20-hour days, but if your fundamental system is untracked, if you don't understand your real cost, your real margin, and your real losses, growth just means you are scaling your confusion. Working harder on a broken system just breaks it faster.
So in Section 4, we talk about the shift to actually seeing the business clearly. We had to make a radical change. We shifted from let's work harder to let's understand what's actually happening on a daily basis. We needed a daily control point, not weekly, not monthly, but daily, because that is where the business actually lives.
And it wasn't through motivation or some magic trick, it was through pure visibility. We started by manually asking 3 very simple foundational questions at the end of every single day. Step 1, what did we produce? Step 2, what did we sell? And step 3, what is left? Just forcing ourselves to answer those 3 questions daily, suddenly the business began to reveal itself. We saw the patterns, we saw the gaps. We weren't guessing anymore, we were finally seeing.
Moving to Section 5, building the Zaagob standard. Now, we quickly realized that doing this all manually, writing it down on paper every single day, was incredibly stressful. It depended way too heavily on flawless discipline. If you forgot just one entry, your whole picture became unreliable again. We desperately needed a better way.
So look at how this evolved. Point 1 was that manual daily tracking, the struggle. Point 2 was the solution, the idea for Zaagob ERP. We didn't want generic software. We wanted a system that actually thinks like an operator handling daily batch production. But then we hit point 3. As we shared this carefully with other businesses, we realized people had the exact same mindset gap we did at the start. They thought knowing how to produce meant knowing how to run a business. So we had to go beyond the tool. We had to teach the business behind the skill, and that became the standard.
And that really defines what Zaagob is. It's not just software meant to impress or overwhelm you. It is a standard built to solve exactly one specific problem, helping you understand your business clearly through absolute visibility. It bridges that massive gap between knowing how to bake or produce and knowing how to actually capture value and protect your profit. It's about making smart decisions based on numbers, not just luck.
Which brings us to Section 6, what this means for you. We've talked a lot about our factory and our mistakes, but let's talk about yours for a second. If you're listening to this episode right now and you have that quiet, creeping feeling that something just feels off in your business, you are probably right. And honestly, that's not a bad thing.
That discomfort is just the beginning, because awareness is where control starts. And control? Well, that is where your profit lives. So here is the most powerful takeaway from our entire series. You do not need to work harder. You need to see clearer. You just need to turn on the lights. So what's your next move? Take that first step to absolute clarity today. We've broken this down into something super simple to get you started. No pressure, no complexity. Just comment the word audit down below and we'll send you our simple starting tool. And make sure you subscribe to the channel right now so you get notified the second we drop our next video. The journey definitely isn't over. Keep your eyes open, take control of your numbers, and we'll see you in the next episode. Until then, ask yourself, are you running your business or are you just scaling your own confusion?